and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing the artifact deck that we had a lot of success with, being the weapon manufacturing deck. If you do not know what this card is, it is very sweet. Whenever a non-token artifact you control enters, create a colorless artifact token named Munitions. When this token leaves the battlefield, we deal 2 damage to any target, which is very, very awesome when we have cards like Legion Extruder that can sacrifice them and make golems, so we get rewarded for those. And then we also have a Pinnacle Starcade that can wipe the board of our opponent while also allowing us to do a ton of damage with all the munitions we make. And then we have a couple of other cards like Helix to do a little bit burn, Saw Blades to hit the big creatures, and we added in the Caretakers talent and Carrot Cake kind of plan to go along with it and see if that's going to work well. I do have a very long outro that talks about this deck in way more depth if you're curious. I think it's like 8 to 9 minutes that we go through and kind of talk about the meta and things with it. So if you are interested in that, that will be in the outro. But other than that, we're just going to go ahead and dive right into the games. All right. It's a bit of a weird hand. We don't have like the ideal cards, but we do have an extruder. So it does seem good enough, maybe. Kind of depends. We obviously need to have a weapon manufacturing eventually, but it does seem as though our extruder will be good eventually. In these matches, obviously we're going to go spring-loaded trap onto this, followed by maybe an extruder after. We'll see. A Johnny's Pride Mate. Sure. Spring-loaded, no life to be gained. And then we can Legion hit this. Great rip, of course. Do here. We have Dust Rose if we need it, or we have Pinnacle if we need it, which we can Pinnacle the board and it will absorb our artifacts, but then we can bring them back, right? No life gain there, or at least any life of relevance. So we go Carrot Cake, make a Caretaker's talent, yes. We shock, and then we probably just pass. I'm honestly looking to Lightning Helix this over everything. Especially with that, right? Let's just Helix here. And now the Chandler is in a weird spot. They have to play something else that gains life, and it has to kind of do it on a different turn. I am down to play my Caretaker's talent. I am down to level my Caretaker's talent. Now we're just in the business of drawing cards until we can find what we need, right? And again, Pinnacle is perfectly fine here because I do have ways to kind of pop some stuff. Or we can always Dust Rose if we need to. Alright, sure. What is our plan here? To play another one? Shelter by Ghost? Sure. Now even more of a reason to play Pinnacle. Guess that does get you a draw, which is good. Is it worth? It will fully reset our stuff. And then we can play Authority, which will allow our Dust Rose to actually do something later. So yeah, let's do this. We have a plan. We play Authority. As you can see, everything under here is kind of absorbed, right? But again, because of Authority, all the creatures are going to enter tapped here. Yeah, you're about to see. So our opponent did it for us. All of our stuff resolves first. Legion Extruder, obviously going here. Spring-loaded Trap going here. So they actually end up losing both their creatures for this exchange. And it was actually a big negative to play the Banishing Light. I'm not entirely sure that they knew that, but we'll take the Fountain Port, and now we are definitely cooking for sure. I will just go to combat for one. The creature's enter tap, so we're under no stress. I will just sacrifice probably the Carrot Cake, just go token up and then look to kind of double pump on these cards. So we have plenty of time to do so, right? Yes, sir. I will take that. Draw, draw, Everything's looking up now. I still think I'm going to follow the plan of just double pumping here. We target here. Sure. Then I want one more. So what we're going to do is we're going to make another copy. And then we're going to level the Caretaker's talent all the way up. So we get maximum tokens. And we're at maximum readiness, right? So we flooded our hand. This is kind of what I was talking about with Caretaker's talent the last time I played this list. Was I just need cards sometimes. And Boros, where we were before, we really had to maximize what we had. But now it feels like if we can get a Caretaker's talent online, we're good to go. But who knows? All right, we are first or second here, not first here, but we have a good hand, especially kind of a really good recovering hand. They already mauled once, so we'll see what they're up to. White, life gain again, interestingly enough, I guess. Here comes a market gnome out. We go for weapon manufacturing next turn. We go for Legion Extruder. I think Johnny Pridemate does make it a bit hard. Because now it's like, do I have time for this? I think the answer is no. This does 2, right? I can technically probably hit this for 2. Block Pridemate here. And then Saw Blades it. And then pick the blades back up with Pixie. So I think is what going to do. It's going to go to 5 here. All right, perfect. So Saw Blades is going to be big enough to pick it up, I think. Weird way to play that out when that's not going to draw anything, I don't think. Fortunately, had to like kind of cough there. Now Authority is going to make this a lot easier to do everything. Now everything's going to enter tapped, which means our Saw Blades are obviously going to be very good. So now I can play like a Pixie, pick it back up, and hit him again. But I do at some point need to get this online. This is 2 damage to any target. Legion Extruder is in play. I just feel like that's a lot easier. If I rip a land here, everything is looking good. To an extent, obviously. So let's play Weapon Manufacturing. And then let's play a Saw Blades while this is Johnny Pridemate is tapped. We're going to make this token. Pridemate's now down. And we're looking good to go. Now we're only missing like a Caretaker's talent, kind of. Healer's Hawk. They can gain as much life as they want. We're pretty safe overall. They're missing a land drop to play like Helena. And that's obviously a pretty good pickup as well. Now I'm just going to go for... I'm just going to... Yeah, I think I'm just going to use Legion Extruder at this point. They find the land. Here comes Helena. Sure. So Healer Hawk kind of sucks to leave alive because obviously it gains life, but the Rune Lurker Bat is much better. It's called a power scaling at its finest. Well, now what do we do? Right, just what we've been doing. Trap in. 2 tokens. Pop. So much life to get through. Our deck's going to take a long time to do it, and I think our opponent knows that. 24. When Helena... Alea? Dang, I keep like adding letters into this person's name. Alea. Yeah. Whenever she comes into play and starts drawing cards, obviously good. Shelter by Ghost, maybe. Sure. Alright. They're just going to try to outvalue with life, but... about this. Yeah. Everything's coming together pretty well. We're doing the thing against one of the decks with the highest win rates in best of 1. At least according to like Untapped. I do think honestly mono white life gain gets a lot of wins at lower ranks, but yeah, we bully it here, which is pretty sweet. I feel like it's got to be right. We'll keep. Kona maybe. Good land rip. Yeah, it has to be Kona, right? Oh, dinos? Hello? What an interesting one. It could play Kona next turn. Wow. That's actually sick. Okay. Wow. Oh, I messed up what land I played too. I was just so mind blown that I could just explode next turn. No, they offspring here. All right. Big mana. I don't know. All right. I guess I can go here and go to authority, I suppose. So I can't really just get slammed by anything. I just... If they Kona me, like, they're just going to wait to Kona me eventually, right? Well, apparently I'm fine. Sure. Land's pretty good here. Dixie come down. Yeah. Pretty positive I want this. All right. I mean, not a whole lot I can do to stop that anyway. I just got surprised and smuggled. I don't think I can beat that. To be quite honest. I mean, obviously we got to throw a block here. They play anything, I'm just dead, right? That's yeah. Yeah, yeah, we're 100% dead to that. Sure. All right, well, that was a weird oddball deck that I never thought I would play against, but sure, I guess. On land draw, we'll make it there, I guess. Market Gnome into Extruder to pop Emberheart Challenger, I guess. Just no 3, bro. Oh, look at that. The exact play we just talked about. This one. Bonk. S. Sure. Am I cool with this? Yeah, I guess so. I like drawing cards. Might as well gain life while I can, right? Here into... I guess here. Go ahead and bottom that for now. Go ahead and do this. We can bottom the land as well. Obviously, we're looking for a weapon manufacturing right now. We'll take care of the homeboy in that for now. Screaming Nemesis. 1, 2. Okay. I thought they were about to play a third. I was like, dude, there's no way. Can I just double block one of these? No. I'll just let it happen, I guess. Fortunately. They have to spend their mana to play those every turn, right? So it's not really like we're down bad on that. I can Legion Extruder that and then Pixie pick it back up, I guess. Then we can look to Caretaker's talent, of course. One. At some point, Caretaker's talent's got to come down and actually start drawing some cards. But when you just have free removal like that, it's just so hard not to do it, right? You have to remember at some point, Screaming Nemesis could come down as another card that they have online. We do need to be a little bit careful. Start drawing. Play here. I will now double block. And I will have Fountain Ports start making tokens. I can start making treasures and stuff too. One oh. Yeah, it doesn't fit any of those descriptions. Yeah. 2-0 until in a turn? I guess so. Go away! Hate that when I right click now, it feels like I can't click off. A monster's raised to give it trample. That's pretty good for us. Market Gnome. That's actually huge. That's a great draw. Market Gnome. The reason why is because this is just so good. Market Gnome's going to gain a life, draw us a card, and then Caretaker's Town's going to draw us a card. And now we're just like really primed and ready to go. I'm going to Screaming Nemesis now. I'm not even worried about blocking, I think. Yeah. I think I'm okay with doing this. Can't gain life anymore, but hopefully it's some facet or another I can just win by doing the damage in time. Not if I keep drawing lands, though. I will tell you that much. In there. We'll just hold a Saw Blades. Hopefully use it to pop something. Please go away when I click you. Uh-huh. There's only a sorcery. Loaded trap. Pop. Aggro's worst nightmare, that's for sure. I don't know, a whole lot it feels like they can do in a lot of the spots we put them in. And that's a reason why. Our deck's primarily structured to beat, but sometimes we get some weird ball decks that we can't interact with, like Smuggler's Surprise, but sure. This is like the only weird card that I feel like I have in my deck now. It worked so well the one time we did it right with all the weapon manufacturing tokens, but it just feels, I don't know, it almost feels like it's out of place if I have like the other side of the deck going with like the carrot cake and everything else that goes along with that. You know what I mean? I don't know. There's the Bristler. Well, do I want a weapon manufacturing? You just like take a big hit for a turn? I guess so, because I think it's going to be a matchup in which it matters, and Bristly Bill alone isn't enough to really stop anything. Don't worry about that. They highlighted it. I don't blame them. Sure. Like now this goes to 4. They might have like some more amount of protection, but once again, this does not care. So I hate that I gotta come over here and click this now. That has to be an update, right? But weapon manufacturing, obviously in a weird spot. This doesn't have trample right now. Should I go for the spring-loaded trap to get them to use their card to save it? Maybe not. Feels like maybe a bad play. I feel like just popping their other stuff is way better. I want this to resolve before my weapon manufacturing because I don't want the 2 damage to go away. I'd much rather have it for sacking stuff later. Now I have my token. I can, however, if I do find a Dust Rose and I put enough artifacts in play, use these to kind of pop a lot of creatures they may put on the battlefield. But now I have a chance to Helix and Springload to trap something if it comes to that. They have a land. Felt like they were saving up a card. Double Helix is pretty good as well. I guess I just wait, right? And I just double react. If they somehow beat this hand, then they beat this hand, right? You would have to have 2 protection spells of some sort to beat double helix. And that's not counting if they play like a bristly bill or something here. There's a Hydra. Sure. All right. Get one of them. We make them waste their thing. Now they can hit me for 2. But this is going to set up everything we pretty much want here. Weapon manufacturing. Spring-loaded trap. Make 2 more of these. Just take these away. And now anytime a Star Cage gets popped or these gets popped or I can find a way to use these, I feel like the game might just be over, but who knows. Missing lands for them. Not great, obviously. I can craft this. I mean, I guess I probably should consider it at some point. Carrot cake. I do think playing the carrot cake here matters the most because obviously we're making 1 billion tokens here. Perfect. Best case scenario. I need to read this, but I'm going to let them take a turn while I do it. And this will cost exile target artifact creature and opponent controls. Okay, so I cannot clear that. Sure. My turn. Legion Extruder. They have to respond before this comes into play, but then it doesn't matter because I can do it on their upkeep as well. 2 damage. Alright. Go to combat. 1. In turn. Not deck thinning is the hard part of that deck because you want to deck thin because you want to draw something other than lands, obviously. But you, like, can't deck thin because if you do, you run into a lot of trouble. Sure, I guess. Back for 4. Down. Now it's extruder time. Double weapon manufacturing. This is the thing, like, this is why Carrot Cake not Carrot Cake, whatever the card is, almost feels like unneeded, right? The Caretakers talent, because then you run into a lot of stuff like this. They have a protection spell. I want them to use it now. This will only double it once, or use all their land pops now is what I want. Yeah. Sure. Up quite a bit. It goes. Oh boy. 3, 6, 7. If they do nothing. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Yeah, I mean, I guess combat. They know about lightning helixes and stuff, so they might not try to do anything. I believe that's enough for lethal, and there's no blocks here. Down to 4. I messed up. I even messed up my math. I thought I needed 1 more. Yeah. Good game, I think. Yeah, a bit of an oops. But they were in kind of a tough spot regardless. I did have 6 damage outside of that, but 6 damage unfortunately is not enough. That doesn't really matter to me all too much. But since it's that kind of a match, here comes Market Gnome. This is Artifacts, I believe. They're pretty much the only one that plays the Authority along with us. Sure. Market Gnome Strike, maybe. We can obviously get exploded on one of these turns, which is not great, but it is what it is. Now we can synthesize our Dust Rose taking their synthesizer if that's kind of what comes in on this turn. Hopefully they miss a land drop. They didn't, but we can hope, obviously. Yeah, alright, so it is that deck. We kind of thought it was, obviously, but needed to be sure. Alright. Well, now it's weird. So obviously I gotta Dust Rose this thing, I think. I wanted the Legion Extruder it. Sure. Might as well just play the damage game now. Fair enough. Did I ever get myself a way to remove this? I don't think so. Just another Dust Rose, I guess. Go ahead. Play fire, sure. It's gonna be a long drug out game, and if I don't find a weapon manufacturing soon, I'm gonna be in a lot of trouble. Snaring my Caretakers sucks, obviously, but it's not like the end-all be-all. That 5/5 pretty much is the... Yeah, I guess. I got to do other things. I think just removing 1/5/5 is not going to solve any problems of ours. Kind of had good exile pieces to find in a row. Could also just like get exploded by the fire crystal in this turn or the next. They play the card that lets them tutor. They can do this and blow us out of the game. The only problem with a card like Ultima that we could play sometimes, we're just not going to be able to play it with this deck because it doesn't work with our weapon manufacturing. Which obviously if we had found that, we'd be in a way better spot. Unfortunately, we're not. I feel like it's just going to be like tank for no reason, blow me out. Yeah, pretty good card. And just stop my Legion Extruder. Just doing this. I know the center's tapped because of that. Not great. We only play 22 lands, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, I feel like we're just delaying the inevitable now. Too many land draws, not enough going on. No weapon manufacturing to have made like 4 or 5, maybe even more tokens than that, and put their life total in jeopardy, right? Because of how many artifacts we were kind of able to play. But I mean, it just is what it is. Very low land count, so I feel okay with keeping this. Alright, never mind. Apparently we're a high land count. We definitely only play 22. I can't draw lands as well if I was playing control with 27, but you know, that's the way it is. Here's Bristly Bill. It's going to go a little out of our range. Goes to 3 to 4. Yeah, I can't really beat this. I need a pinnacle at some point. See if they crack this land. Cracking this land's a mistake, by the way. We should have just held it. But now we get a Bristly Bill off the battlefield. And I drew another land, by the way. 22 lands. 22, by the way. After losing the last game to probably drawing a little too many lands and not enough valuable cards, here we are again. Drawing too many lands and probably not enough valuable cards. I'm pretty sure I'm on 22 lands. I probably need to check after this game, to be honest with you. Alright. Tifa. We can remove Tifa, too. Fable Passage does enter tapped. It's weird, because I feel like we don't have a chance in this match right now, but somehow we do. Now, Landwar Elves obviously can have a protection spell. No! You just played into it. Okay. I want double Extruder for next turn. If I'm going to have all this mana, I might as well use it. Just. Okay. Oh, to 2 to 4 to 8. I just can't win. I feel like their plays have just been not super optimal, and I'm getting punished either way. Sure. Ow. If this works, dude. I auto-resolved, by the way. Okay. Play another creature I can't beat. Please. I don't know how we're even here. Traveling Chocobo. I can somehow also remove Traveling Chocobo. Stop drawing lands. Please, I am begging. They rip the protection spell now? How unfortunate is that? That's pretty crazy. Sure. Go ahead. I will sack one of these to make a 3/3 to block this Chocobo if I have to. Obviously, if they play a Bristly Bill, I'm in a lot of trouble there. Okay. Play land. Play a Market Gnome. Oh. So there's clearly no protection spell there. I guess Royal Treatment wouldn't have done it anyway, right? Here's a Bristly Bill. What's up, dude? You have a land drop to make? Searching for a land, though. Go to 3. That does matter a lot. Now I feel like with Market Gnome, I don't actually want to sack it here. I want to actually protect it. So I feel like I'm actually supposed to make a fish. Oh my gosh, bro. Arena's trying everything it can to make me lose this game. But also I've drawn like, I don't know. It feels like everything that could go wrong is going wrong, but I'm actually drawing not that bad. Like, I don't feel like my draws are great, but I don't feel like I don't think I should have this many lands. At some point, I got to run out of the pocket of lands. I'm hitting at like a 30 to 40% clip right now. Sacrifice. The thing is with this in play, it's not that impressive. And I almost feel like they need to spread the counters around. They're doing it now, going to 4, so no like Lightning Helix can answer this, which totally makes sense. All right. This has to do something. You have to be able to do something. We're drawing 2 cards. Please. 1 and 1 at least. Market Gnome is about as one as we could ask for. Level up. These tokens are going to get larger. At 5 each, I feel like these can swing. Okay. Listen. I feel like I probably complained way too much. I caught myself. I felt like I was complaining a lot. However, I feel like I'm going to prove it right now. I'm going to look right now and see if I have 22 lands. We had like 9 or 10 right there. And we're still in our top 40. I have to look. I just have to. Yeah, 22. Okay. It's like I don't feel like I'm crazy. All right, my opponent goes first. I feel like I've been on a draw quite a lot, but that's okay. I do have Authority. I do have the Gnome. The Blade. Oh, they mauled. I didn't even know they mulliganed. All right, well, win a couple games. I go against the blue-white deck I struggle to beat, so... I mean, I guess realistically, Authority's pretty good against them as well. Especially with Pinnacle Star Cage. We can kind of lock them up from doing stuff, even though they can technically exile this pretty easily. But we're looking to be aggressive here. Arcanum come down, we'll sack it, make our 3/3, maybe. Yeah, Snare gonna take what? That's fine, I guess. Like, obviously not great for us, but not necessarily the worst thing in the world either. Yep. Deal. Done. Repurposing bay. Here's the red, so we know what we're against 100%. I guess it... Spring Loaded Trap can hit this, so there's no point in, like... Maybe I shouldn't even attack with that. So, I'm afraid to level this up, because I'm afraid I'm going to get my token sniped. So, I'm just going to do this instead. Sure. Redraw. Now, obviously, Star Cage can do something here. Against me, if my opponent plays it, obviously. There's Spring Loader Trap. Maybe just a dead hand. A lot of lands drawn. With Braiding Net, like, it's definitely... I mean, this is definitely an artifact deck. They're just not hitting the cards they need to hit. With that said, here. Get in there, big dogs. No weapon manufacturing either. Tag. Oh, okay. So that is the epitome of a deck that I really don't feel like I have a great chance to beat. Authority gave me a slimmer of hope, just because obviously they can't do the crystal instantly one-shot me plan. But I have struggled against this deck so much in the past with this deck because we're just too small, right? Like, a Lightning Helix can't kill a 5/5. But we somehow won because Arena just said, flood, brother. I don't know. Got Authority on one, weapons, spring-loaded. I feel pretty good. Would be against an idealistic matchup, hopefully. About half my matchups have been... What? It's not even... Sometimes I just can't tell what the cards are whenever they're like this. Blue-red, though. Weird. I feel like it'd be Vivi, right? Huh? That would be best. Spring Loaded Trap can also suffice, I guess. We'll just wait. We'll let them pump it again, then we'll Spring Loaded Trap it, I guess. Or if a Light Shatter comes in or something like that. Good Spell Pierce this, I suppose. Yeah. Okay. Not finding a land now really sucks, to be honest with you. Here's a Market Gnome. Weapon Manufacturing making another token. How Market Gnome wasn't written with whenever it leaves the battlefield instead of, like, whenever it dies. I'll never know. Honestly, I guess I just play Pixie and pick the Market Gnome back up, right? Let's say make a mistake and flash something in here. Already got a ton of permanents here. If they remove that, I'll take the card draw. If it is a, like, Lightning Strike or something. Exiles it? Sure. EV players, am I right? They always have to play the exile effects because they're afraid of the cards that they play. Which makes sense. Don't get me wrong. Like, totally makes sense. This gotta feel like it's VV, right? I don't know what else would be playing this. That has Vigilantes. But does not matter. Only a colorless available. Lightning Helix being a wasteland is pretty sweet. Alright. Now we just need to find a Fountain Port or a Caretaker's Talent. Caretaker's Talent honestly would be ideal. I think for a lot of obvious reasons. I think this is just a weird aggro deck with blue in it. It might be VV combo. I'm not sure. Guess we just wait. Much rather see them commit a lot of mana into this to take away from their turn. Sure. I have 5 mana. I'm a dangerous lad. Speeds up. Sure. Again, there's a couple of cards that I could think of that would be very nice. Sure. This is the Izzet deck that beats VV. Or attempts to beat VV. Sure. I mean, I guess, honestly, at this point, I can craft and do it with this, right? Oh, I forgot about that. Now it's really sweet because Spring Loaded Trap, we can now tap 2 munitions and bring up a 5/5 and start attacking them. I was talking about a lot of other things that needed to happen. Sure. Yeah, I guess. Oh no. Yes, Arena, put the untap right over top of my permanents, thank you. Right over top, right where I want them. Oh. This does transform and re-enters the battlefield, so these don't have like haste or anything, so I can't do what we might think we can. But with just a Nemesis in play, I feel like I'm fine. We have exactly lethal on our turn. Kind of, I guess. I need one more weapon manufacturing. Do I have an artifact in my graveyard I could have crafted with? No. I think they get exiled. In life? Sure. Nemesis attacks. Felix upstairs. Resolve. My turn. So we can do something pretty cool. Tap 2 untapped artifacts. Tap, tap. Rose. Stack. Face. Comes in. Weapon manufacturer makes another token. I guess we Dust Rose this. Then we can tap both our weapon things again. Then we can swing for 10. Very nice. Against... I don't know. Alright, we get to go first here. We will keep. It's always weird not to play this on 1, but I just don't feel like we can. I feel like it's too good with weapon manufacturing not to just, like, run it out, right? Afterward. Maybe that's wrong, but I don't really feel so. Flick shot, show off. Perfect. Awesome. Even better. Easy an extruder. Come in. Pop that thing. Make a token. Player market gnome that can get hit by a screaming nemesis and just tank it. Then we can go Caretaker's Talent. Make another copy of the thing. Oh, burnt. Flick shot in the air. Okay. The odds that I'm dead. I don't know. Definitely not 0. Let's just see what's up. Sure. Done. Like a good deal to me. Sure. I'm out of tokens, right? So yeah, let's play Caretaker's talent here. Okay. I mean, it just has to mean they don't have protection, right? For this. That's all that has to mean. What else would that be for? Land draw obviously means their hand is exactly the same. Stack here, gain 1 life, make another 3/3, draw a card. Activate here, make a copy of. Weirdly enough, these are more damage, right? And not having a way to get rid of them means I should probably do that instead. And there's a Helix. We play land, and then I just punch my opponent for 6. Sure. Flick shot, Screaming Nemesis. That's a-okay with me. Just 2 it is. I can use my Fountain Port. Sure. 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 Here. Permanents we control get indestructible. Then we shoot this one. Sure. Sure. Now, with that, we just attack for lethal. That's the matchup we want. Alright, so here we are at the end of the journey today. And this is where I kind of settled on a bit after talking about it, honestly, quite a while ago from playing the Boros Artifact deck from before, where I said I think Caretaker's talent will help make our good matchups better so we can kind of win them a lot more consistently. But today was a bit weird. We ended with a record of 9-8, and I know that's like, oh, that's 50%. That's not that great. That is counting the fact that we played a majority of our games on the draw, and we won at 50-50 at that, because we have a 50% win rate on the draw. But that's pretty solid. If you can win 50% of your games on the draw, and you can up your on the play win percentage to like 70 or something like that, that's a very good sign. However, there's one very important thing to note. Most creature decks we beat, and those are actually the most consistently played decks on Arena. For example, mono white life gain, we have mono green, we have mono red, we have the Boros aggro decks, as you saw in today's video, and things like that. And as you could tell, the variance was pretty high. Like, even against mono green, we ended up pulling that game out, but it feels like there should have been no way that we did with how many lands we drew. We only played 22. I even had to check after that game to make sure I didn't mess something up. As you can see, 22 just is what it is when that happens. Not a whole lot we can do about it. But the main thing I want to take away, and this does matter a bit because it kind of matters to the meta currently right now. We can like not consistently or even come close to beating the blue-white control / Jeskai artifact deck. Those two decks are by far the hardest. Blue-white control we can kind of get away with if we can somehow get a weapon manufacturing in play along with the extruder. This is pretty hard for them to deal with. But the artifact deck in general requires so much to go our way that We just need our opponent to explode, pretty much. And if we take that deck specifically out of our win-loss rate, because if we want to see it, well, how did we do against the rest of the field? And taking out just the artifact deck, we go from 9-8 to 8-3, which is very good as a good win rate, right? We immediately double the amount of wins than we take losses. And that matters a lot because I might play artifacts a ton today, but I might not play it at all tomorrow when I'm playing this. And if my win rate is 8-3, or let's just call it like 2 wins for every 1 loss, I mean, you're looking at 30, you know? Obviously, probably not going to run that well because no deck really ever designed will do that, and especially a best of 1 and kind of the hand smoother the way it works and being on the draw and stuff like that. But 8 games in a row on the draw at one point, and just to get to play and then back on the draw twice and then to play again is a pretty good showing, weirdly. Obviously, not every kind of gameplay is going to be smooth. I think I just talked about this in the last video where I was talking about Semic Ugin, where I thought not every deck is going to play as well as you want. But I do think this had some upside. The Helixes feels really strong, but also weak. And honestly, they feel strong because of the life gain that we get from this. Feels really important to be done. However, I do think like a spring-loaded trap might be better. But against like mono-black demons or like blue-black, being able to hit the Soul Stone land, the 3/3 land, with this actually has been pretty important. And this, is this creature an artifact? It is. So we can technically do this as well. But I feel like that's a weird argument to make when you can argue, well, if this is another artifact or spring-loaded traps, we should be able to get there with weapon manufacturing. And it kind of goes hand in hand with that. And maybe Lightning Helix just isn't that good. Maybe these just need to get lost, right? Where we just give them tokens anyway and we just use Pinnacle, and maybe this is just supposed to be get lost now. I know before we felt a lot more burn heavy, right? We were putting a lot more burn to face because we had a lot more artifacts in, but including Caretakers talent has taken a little bit of them out, and now we run this kind of weird thing where sometimes we might have a weapon manufacturing in play, but just not enough artifacts to kind of pick up and put back down because obviously we have Pixie right here, instead of the 2 flash creatures that could put a artifact back in our hand, so we could keep playing them over and over again. A card I did enjoy that I cut the first time I made changes to this list was Market Gnome. But I feel like this little guy just being able to kind of be a good solid sack outlet to the Legion Extruder and just gaining a life and drawing a card and help us get through some of our flood situations is very important. Because oftentimes with that card, we want to play weapon manufacturing first before we start doing anything, which is a weird way to do it. But if we can get this down, well, then we can play, like we have in a couple games, play the Market Gnome and Legion Extruder and then sack this later. But this is going to make 2 weapon tokens, right? We're going to make 2 munitions. Or in the weird case that we rip another weapons manufacturing, we can play a second one down and then play a Market Gnome, and now we make 2. And then when we play Legion's Extruder, we'll make 2 more, sack the Market Gnome, make 2 more, and then a Pinnacle is now dealing like 12 damage, right? So it's all that weirdness that kind of builds up. And I'm unsure if the changes were better because I did play the other one. I think I played like 7 games and went 6-1 with it. So obviously that win rate feels a lot better. But here, if I play another, we played like 17 games. If I play another 17, where are we at, right? Is it actually good enough to be able to be played a lot, or is artifacts and stuff just that bad for us? We can't play this deck right now because Jeskai Artifacts is one of the most represented decks, but if you add up the percentage of all the decks being played, it is not, because I can look right now, actually, if I go to meta. Win rate today. Most played, yeah, so this is the part that matters. So if we go to Untapped, I'm changing it right now. This is kind of the talk we have to have, right? Fantasy football, apparently. If we look at the popularity rate today, mono white life gain at 14.5%, and we crush this deck most of the time. Mono red aggro, we crush this deck as well. So a lot of the percentage. So if you're just going to be generous, that's what, 9 to 14. That's 23. That's 24 based on 5 and 4. If you want to round up, 24% of the meta we crush pretty regularly. 7% we get pretty much slammed. And then set mono green, I would be slightly favors. I would say we're 60-40 on this if we can get set up. But if they're on the play and they have a Mosswood and a protection spell, then we just lose that match. I would say Boros Burn, we pretty much slam them most of the time. So now you're adding another 7% on top of what we're already good against. So like 30, now it's like 40% and things like that. Where I played against Jeskai Artifacts a ton today because its win rate is a lot. But Azorius Control is also that. So if I'm weak against 11% of the meta, 12%, let's say 15%. If I have an auto loss to 15% of the meta, but in what almost feels like an auto win against 40% of the meta or 30% of the meta, you take that, right? So just because it didn't work out super well for us just that time doesn't mean we should not do that, right? So it's a bit weird overall what should happen and where we should go from here, but this is where I ended up. A very long outro here, but I wanted to talk about it in depth and kind of my thought process behind it all and some of the frustrations or positives that we have in the deck. And Caretaker talent does feel like the way to go. Just how to make it a bit more consistent is yet to be kind of solved, right? So with that said, I hope you all enjoy regardless, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.